Please hold my hand as I go down this road. Can't keep going back to what I used to know.
Hey everyone! Happy holidays! I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and will have a great New Year's. My name is Nevaeh and welcome to my channel, or welcome back, and thanks for joining me today. It has been a minute, as usual. But today I really wanted to do a mental health check-in. And kind of just talk about this year, talk about 2025, and, just do a review of how the years went on my side. And I would love to hear how your guys' year went, what you're working on, what you've grown from, and how you are preparing and praying for 2026. I have my laptop down here with Pinterest. I love Pinterest so much. I could stay on Pinterest for hours, and I think I have many times. So I will put up a picture of the reflection that I found, which I'm very excited to answer some of these questions. I think it'd be really good, especially for me. I love mental health, emotional health, and growth. And I think it'd be really awesome for you guys to walk through and kind of just like chew on those thoughts. And maybe this could inspire you to do mental health check-ins or even do your own Pinterest search. Before we get started, I just want to say I am currently on vacation right now. We just got back from our first cruise as a family, and it was so surreal. I had imposter syndrome, like I don't belong here. I don't. But it was wonderful, and I will be making a video on that. I have to download all my videos and my photos from my camera. I'm very excited to make a little montage or collage of sorts and share the experience with you guys. It was really wonderful. So, and then we got back and we are down in Florida and just hanging out here as a family. But it's been really relaxing and it's been nice and it's been so eye-opening. So let's get right into the questions. The first question: what experiences in 2025 shaped me the most and why? This year was a big year for me to learn about who I am emotionally and explore my thinking patterns and how I function depending on which emotions I'm feeling. I'll say there were a lot of events that happened that majorly impacted my emotions and changed who I was. I will say I'm easily influenced. One week, if I'm having a good week, it's like a teeter-totter. Yeah, like a teeter-totter. It's very difficult for me to just be content. There's always some emotion charging what I'm doing or how I'm feeling. And so I'll have a week where something really great will happen and I'm all the way up here, like ecstatic, loving life, very motivated. But let's say even during that time where I'm so happy and enjoying life, something will happen. I'll take something the wrong way, or a remark will be said, or something doesn't go my way, and instantly, now we're here. And I'm very sad. I'm very down. I have low energy. Collectively, all of the experiences that I had this year shaped me into someone who's more mindful about my emotions and the decisions that I make while being mindful of what mood I am or what or what emotion I'm experiencing. So I'll say that's pretty broad, but that's my honest answer. That is my honest answer. Okay, the second question is, what am I most proud of achieving this year? I'm very proud of a lot of things. This was a big year of growth for me. I guess I am most proud of coming to a place of understanding more of who I am as a person from my perspective, rather than who I am as a person from other people's perspectives. So going deeper into that, it would be more like understanding that I'm a human being with emotions and thoughts and feelings that are valid. And it's okay to have those emotions and thoughts and feelings from my own perspective, as in like, why does Nevaeh feel this way? What's making her feel this way? How does Nevaeh feel about this? And what is she going to do about this? Rather than looking at Nevaeh as, from an outside perspective, saying, well, Nevaeh is this to this person, so how should Nevaeh act based on what they want? That would be, if you can understand what I'm trying to say. I have a natural tendency to make other people's situations my own and take responsibility for their issues, their feelings, their desires. I guess this is people pleasing in a way, but the way that I'm describing it, I like it more. But I have a tendency to take responsibility for other people's desires and feel like it's my job to fulfill them or make sure that they're okay and make sure that they're happy. And in a lot of ways, I was neglecting myself. And then I'd get frustrated and spend so much time this year. I spent so much time this year wondering, why am I doing everything for everyone else, but no one is doing anything for me the way that I'm doing it for them? Of course, I was being taken care of. Yes, you know, my loved ones love me very deeply. But I feel like I was taking it to a very deep level, like a way more intimate level of, let me handle this for you because I love you and I want to be here for you. And I want to make sure you don't have to worry about this at all. But I wasn't getting that same deep level of love or care or being taken care of that I was giving in. And I take it very far though. Like, I will just be like, let me handle it all. Let me do it all. You know, I don't want you to worry about it at all. But then when it came to my interests or my desires, and I started growing bitterness in my heart because I'm like, why doesn't anybody care the way that I care? Why doesn't anybody handle things the way that I handle things? And my honest answer is, I don't know. Maybe that's not normal. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Can anybody relate to that? Is that not a normal thing? Or I don't know what the answer would be. I feel like if I'm just thinking of it from my own perspective, it would be, maybe that's just not standard. But maybe that was my standard. Because the people that I love and deeply cherish, that's how I like to treat them. That is just my kind of expression of love, was like sacrificing my time, my wants, and my needs to fulfill them, and hoping that, you know, one day that they'd give it back to me whenever I needed it. But then I wasn't getting it. It was still focused on. So what I'm most proud of is recognizing I have wants, I have needs, and I have desires that deserve to be met. And I can fulfill them in some ways, you know. Of course, I'm going to need other people to fill my cup. But I learned that I can fill my own cup, and I can reserve time for myself to make sure that I'm taken care of instead of overexhausting myself, making sure everyone else is happy and I can save me for last. So yeah, I would say, in short, putting myself first, learning to put myself first. So the third question is, in what ways did I grow emotionally, mentally, or spiritually? I learned a lot about my anger. I learned how to live with anger, and it's still a process. But I've handled it a lot better this year. Especially at school, because I got to a point where I needed to go to counseling. And I've done counseling my freshman year, and it was wonderful. And this year I went back again because I was struggling so much. I was struggling mentally to a point where I was starting to skip classes. And that's where I'm like, okay, I need serious help. But I was facing a lot of anger this year, just reflecting on my past relationships and how I treat myself, and kind of the overextending thing. Why am I pouring out my whole heart, but who's doing that the same way that I'm doing that for them? But that wasn't, that's not everyone's standard. Anyways, I've been growing a lot, learning learning how to live with anger and see it as an emotion that humans have, that God created, that God has. And how can I handle my anger in a healthy way? Because for me, whenever I experience anger, I push it down because I don't know what its full capability is and how I would express it. I had this belief that once I get to a certain point of being angry, there's no going back. I'm going to become this monster and I'm going to be unrecognizable, and then forever then I'm just going to be changed and I'm never going to be the same Nevaeh again. And so my entire life I've spent, don't get angry, don't become a monster. You can't feel that. You're not allowed to be angry. Shove it down, turn it into something else, numb it out, ignore it. And that anger would turn into pain and deep, deep sorrow. And so I wouldn't allow myself to get angry, but more I would just become overly sad. And in this depressive state, like blaming myself, like, I shouldn't feel angry. I shouldn't get angry. That's not right. But what I learned from counseling is that anger in my life is a response to injustice or unfairness. And it is a valid feeling to have. It's a valid emotion to have. So, knowing that, what do I do with my anger? And invite it into my life so that I can understand it. So yeah, I'll say that was the biggest way that I grew emotionally this year. And I'll kind of tie that in mentally with just understanding my emotions. Spiritually, oh boy. I will say I've not had much spiritual growth this year. I have been getting back to a place where I'm very connected with God again, but it's been a tough year spiritually. And I do believe that is because I've gone through so much, so many mental and emotional struggles that I took my eyes off of God. And I had a lot of perspective shifts this year, you guys, where, I'm internalizing this victim mentality and, questioning God, like, are you even here? Do you even hear me? Where are you? I've had so many experiences with you. I've had so many deep connections, and I've heard from you so many times throughout the years. But this year, I'm not seeing you. I'm not hearing you. And I stopped putting in effort. And I left God on the back burner and was just like, I'll give you a good morning, God. I'll give you a good night, God. And I might pray once a week or not even, I would go to chapel at school and that was it. I was just broken down. I grew so much spiritually during this trip, during the cruise trip. And here's why, is I saw how big the world is. I'm someone who never really traveled. I've never traveled outside the country before. This is my first time. And I've only been to a few states. But being on that ship and seeing all these different places, different cultures, and meeting different people, I just saw I'm really small. And my issues aren't as big as I think they are. But my God is so much bigger than even this huge world. And he still created me. He wanted me. And I just came to this, it was so peaceful. I came to this peaceful place. And I was just like, the world is so much bigger. It's so much bigger than my worries and my struggles. And there's just so much more to see. There's so much of my story to be written and to be experienced. And that really connected me with God. I think that was a moment of clarity where I was just like, I need you, God. Like, I want to experience this world. I want to experience my life with you. And just deepen my commitment with him. Yeah. The fourth question, what patterns held me back and what do I want to change? Well, the patterns that held me back I already talked about, and I've already been changing them through counseling. You guys, I am a big advocate for counseling, therapy, mental reflection, emotional development and growth. I am a big advocate. Maybe that's because I'm a social worker, but it is so beneficial to dig deep into what you're feeling and why. Where did this come from? What childhood experiences made you who you are today? And so, the patterns that were holding me back were the anger and the victimizing myself. And I did change those things. And I will be changing them every day, whenever I experience those kinds of emotions and feelings and perspectives. And they held me back from realizing I'm human. And I'm what I was created with those emotions. I was created with those feelings. Not so much the victimization ones, but I am human and I'm going to experience these things, and it is normal to experience these things. And so I don't have to hurt myself with these harmful thinking patterns. I don't have to put myself in this box. I can process it and I can move forward and learn and grow from it. What relationships supported my growth the most? 4 people. Number 1, I'll say my parents. My parents are my biggest supporters. They really are. And they have been supporting my educational journey since before it even started. And, I process what I learned with them. This year I started my official, my practicum. So I have been working in a mental health and addictions services. And shadowing social workers and peer support specialists and therapists, and even had, quite a bit of opportunities to develop my own social work abilities and work with clients one-on-one or in groups. So it has been an amazing time to just process those with my parents and, see my mom brings like a spiritual kind of reflection point and also her medical background. And then my dad brings this like perspective from the world and knowing people, as in like watching their behaviors and, you know, looking at their backgrounds and, you know, and reflecting on how it affects me and how I can move forward. The second, wait, 5 people. 5 people. Not 4, 5. I guess I counted my parents as 1. But yeah. The second person who has really supported my growth is my boyfriend. He's such a sweetheart, you guys. But I process everything with him. Almost everything. I process almost everything with him. And he brings different perspectives for me to like work through and see from, you know, because I can be very like narrow-minded about some things, but I will always look at the bigger picture, and he helps me see the different perspectives in the bigger picture, rather than me being like, this is the conclusion I've come to, so maybe it's this, or maybe it's this one other thing. But he helps me see, let's look at all of it. Let's see how all the moving parts are working. And even through my mental struggles and my emotional development, he has been there every step of the way to hear all of my crazy everything. And he's just accepted me for who I really am, like through and through, you know, all my ups and downs. Like, he's supported me through it, and he's been so patient with me. Even in my academic journey, like, he's just been wonderful. Yes. The third person would be my counselor that I've started visiting this year at school. He has been helping me process my anger and, you know, traumas that I've experienced, and how I operate, you know, how I survive through life, and how I can instead experience and move through life rather than functioning from this place of survival, that I've learned to adapt, or that I've learned to adopt since childhood. And there has been so many realizations I've had just from the short amount of time. I started counseling mid-fall semester. So roughly like 8 weeks, maybe a little bit more. I think we've had 4 to 5 sessions because we see each other every other week. But I am a big advocate for counseling and therapy services. And so just having a professional guide me through things that I'm experiencing or what I'm feeling has been so helpful to understand myself and the beliefs that I have, and just my behaviors. It has been incredible. And the last person who has supported my growth the most is me. This year, have grown to supporting myself and seeing that I am someone worth pouring into, and I deserve to pour into myself. I deserve to care for myself the way that I care for others. The way that I so desperately want to love others and care for others, I can do that for myself too, and I should. I'm very proud of myself. I am. Okay, next question. What moments brought me the most joy or peace this year? Well, I already talked about peace. I already talked about the experience that I had with God on the cruise and just seeing how big the world is. The most joy that I felt this year, celebrating the end of this first semester. Celebrating the end of this fall semester, having, you know, some experience and practice part-time, and next semester I'll be full-time. I did struggle a little bit academically because of the mental things that I were the mental and emotional experiences I was having. But I pushed through so hard, you guys. I pushed through. I was like, I want this. This was my strongest year academically. And so ending this semester on such a great note. I ended this semester with a 3.85 GPA. Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of myself. I put in, oh my gosh, that has been, this semester was my strongest. And I'm so proud of myself. That was probably my biggest joy this year. We are on question 7, which says, what challenges tested me and how did I overcome them? The client situations that I've been a part of at my practicum have definitely been challenges that have tested me. You're working with people. People are very messy. And when you're in social work, people are not coming to you with these great situations. They're coming to you because they have an issue. And most of the time, these are big issues, very significant issues. I have worked with homelessness, family issues, personal traumas, a lot of suicide or suicidal ideation. Some of the clients that I've had have been pretty difficult in ways of, I want you to fix my situation, but I'm not going to do anything about it and you're going to do all the work. And this happens far more often than I thought it would. I've had people lash out, cuss me out, scream at me, say I'm wasting their time, say that I've just pulled the trigger on their situation and forced their hand. But when you give them solutions or ask them, what is it that you're wanting? Nothing is good enough, or they don't have an answer and they want you to come up with something, but then refuse it. So the way that I overcame this was a healthy distancing, seeing that I'm there to be a helper, and I can't make your situation my situation. And this is really interesting because I do this with my loved ones, with my family. I want to jump in and take over the entire situation and make it my own. But with my clients, I don't do that. And I acknowledge, yes, this is your situation. This is how I can help you if you want the help. And if you don't, I did what I can. That's my job, is to organize the services for your situation or refer you to other services and organizations that can help your situation. But I can't be the person to fix everything for you. I'm not the fixer, I'm the helper, I'm a supporter. So that's how I overcame that, which has been very helpful for not taking things home. And even on nights when I do take things home, I process them and acknowledge I'm a helper. I did my job. I did what I could do. And the next question, what did 2025 teach me about myself? Overall, that, like I've said, that I am a human being. I have a personality worth getting to know. I have a cup worth being filled. And on a more spiritual note, that everything that I am, every decision I've made, every decision I will make, every emotion that I have and will have, God has seen that since before I was even created, and He still chose to create me. And that shows me that I have purpose and I have meaning, and that He wanted me for a reason. He had something in store for me, and He chose me specifically. And this goes to everyone that He's created. He's created us with reason. Even having seen our futures and knowing how things will end, He still chose to make you. And that is something that brings me back to Him time and time again when I feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm making too many mistakes, or, I'm never going to get this right. He still created me. He still chose me. He still answers my prayers. And he's still shown me where he wants me to go, despite knowing all those little mistakes that I'm gonna make. So just having overall worth. Yeah. Where did I step outside my comfort zone this year? Advocating for myself. Because I'm so used to advocating for everyone else that I neglect myself. So that was my comfort. That was my survival. But standing up for myself, speaking up for myself, explaining my needs or the way that I work, and even just taking time to just walk away from a situation because I need it has been so empowering. Instead of forcing myself to sit in things that I don't want to sit in so that I can keep my sanity. What am I most grateful for as 2025 ends? I guess the overall growth that I've had. I've been growing rapidly. After my school semester and heading into summer did not go how I thought it would at all. And I got to a dark place, a place of struggle, and coming out of that this year, and especially reaching out to therapeutic services. I'm very grateful that I did that for myself and that I acknowledged I have some things I need to work through, so I'm going to work through them. And doing that, I'm very grateful that I took those steps to overcome that. What do I want to leave behind as I enter 2026? Procrastination. Inconsistency. Fear. Worry. Minimizing me. Yeah. I don't want it anymore. I don't want it. So you know what I do? Here. If you connect with that, I want to leave it behind. I want to leave anxiety, fear, inconsistency. That's what you do. That's what you do right here. I don't want it anymore. You can have it. Actually, you can't take it. You know who can? God. God can. And that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna give it to God. And the last question, what is my biggest intention for the new year ahead? You know what? My biggest intention for this new year is to take care of myself. And I've been, stepping into that this year with the growth, but being very intentional about keeping myself healthy, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, making sure that my cup is filled. And it's not going to be that way all throughout the year, but that's what I'm going to be intentional about, is making sure that I'm healthy. Because I operate at my best when my cup is filled and when I am healthy, when I am feeling that I'm in a good mental space, even whenever I am struggling, but making sure that I have healthy behaviors and am taking care of myself and being intentional in that way. That would be my overall goal, is to take care of myself, check in with myself and make sure that I'm okay. So yeah, and that is the end of this 2025 end of year journal and reflection. I am very grateful for all of you. If you chose to stay the whole way through, that is wonderful. I would love to read, some of your answers or responses or your biggest takeaways from the video or the journal questions, and what some of your goals are for this new year. any ways that you guys have been praying or could use prayer. If I could ask you guys to pray for me this year, I would just say pray that I go the places God wants me to go. This is going to be a very big year for me where I'm about to be graduating and I'm going to be in full professional practice. But I'm going to be applying for a master's program, which will hopefully be, which will be my last year of school that I know of so far. I don't know if I'll go back in the future, maybe. I'm not opposed to it. But I would just, really appreciate prayers for receiving God's direction and following through with it. But I hope you all have a wonderful end of your year today. And I just pray a very blessed 2026 for you guys. And just a strong year ahead. Thank you all so much for watching my video and being here with me and listening to me and, just walking through, my story with me. And I will see you guys when I see you guys. Bye.
Soften up the mess, drop it in the water, let the daughter find her image with the rest. She'll be learning how to breathe, spinning through identity, reveal another pretty little scheme. Save her mind, hold her hand.